Okay, howdy everybody. It is November 15th. It is episode 18 of the museum, or the Ration Museum Bulletin. All right, almost got it this time. One of these times, we'll get it right off the bat. So, good to see everybody. Looks like I'm a couple minutes late getting in here. So, you guys have got the conversation started. Good to see Aletha, Gunnar, Dub C, James, Xenosaga. Great to see all you guys already. Wow. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me get the door closed for this place. I'm not shouting up the hallway all night. Get some of this stuff moved around. Need some packing material to be out. Don't want those crackers to ever be too far from sight, you know? So get all that stuff out. Alright. How's everybody's week been? Ruby, welcome, welcome. Getting some, let's see. Oh, wait. Why does that think there's nothing in the corner? Let's see. Wake up. Switching cameras, hopefully not breaking everything. Let's see. Oh, okay. I think, I didn't notice, but the desktop camera decided it was a good time to reboot and install a big old update. So that's going to be a few minutes, I'm assuming. So, yeah, I looked over and that's all I see right now. Normally I get to avoid these things, or I get in early enough to get it updated when it's going to force one, but it'll just be a couple minutes and we'll just stick to this one. I don't think anybody's going to mind. So let's see. Gail, welcome. We are going to do some packing this week. I got all sorts of supplies from the post office. Actually, here's a better. Oh, there we go. That's a better idea of what we got. So, no job too big or small. We'll be able to get some boxes out because the museum does well. I mean, I think maybe we should have a bit of a distinction. So the museum has some stuff in its collection, mostly things that people have donated to it, and then there's still my collection, which is intended to eventually, be donated and sold to the museum in varying pieces. So the stuff that's still in my collection, there's a lot of it that is open for trade. And the stuff that's open for trade is for the purpose of getting better things to put into the museum. So it's kind of like this, it's a balance that I want to work out while we're still a non-existent, entity for the most part. But hope that makes sense. Hey, Old Smoky, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. I had a good time at your stream last night. I hope you got some rest in between. Thanks for that. I sent out a tweet. I dumped this in a couple Discords. I'm about to drop it in a few more. Just trying to get the word out a little more than normal this time. Hopefully, bit by bit, we'll build this audience. So, let's see, where are we at? I heard the phone waking up. Updating profile. Almost. Smokey, I got a surprise coming for you. Something pushing the limits of a flat rate box like the old days. Hey, JW Speaker. I know some folks were asking about you last night. I don't know. Did you make it to Smokey's stream by the end? I know Gunnar made it in pretty much the last, 30 seconds. It's like, hey, Gunnar, bye, Gunnar. Okay, bye, everybody. All right, so we got this camera back up, it looks like. Let me try and shake her loose. Come on, there we go. All right. I'll get that mounted up over here. You know, what's nice about this is, you know, it's totally turned off as far as the outside goes while it's broadcasting, and I can shake it, I can do whatever, and it's not going to wake back up. And it lasts like 4 or 5 hours that way, so that's been working out good. I got another one of those cameras for my stream at home, my backpack walking around crazy stream for just the fun of it. So, you know, I like these things. Just these Boost Mobile Samsung Galaxy A10es. Let's see. This looks like it's a little high. Laptop mic. I'm hesitant to mess with sound after last week, but I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. All right. Yeah, no worries, Smokey. Let's see. Oh, speaking of comments, I know it's not like a mountain of stuff out there, but I do need to get back to everybody. I haven't really done any of that yet, so I figure it's better to get into the habit of it now while there's, you know, just a comment here and a comment there. I noticed there's already some spam out there, so I want to get in and weed that out before that builds up. How's the weather where everybody's at? Philly's pretty warm, actually. It's kind of dipping up and down. Talking to some friends back in Montana where I used to live last night and the night before, it seemed like a potential blizzard in the area, so that was interesting. Factory Friday. Oh, had a fire in the factory on Friday. I thought you were saying, oh, we had a thing called Factory Friday. No, you had a fire in the factory. Jeez. You all right? Any major damage? Was it like an electrical thing or oof, what happened? Dang. What part of the country are you in, Dubsy? Pardon my forgetfulness if you told me before. Chemical fire. Ooh. Ah, gotcha. Now I look at that and my brain tries to remember, is that Mississippi or Missouri? It's a while and I don't have, so I'm gonna guess Mississippi. No, Missouri. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've had to abbreviate. MO, God, not it. Michigan. I'm way off. I'm way off. All right, we're starting out strong this week. So, bit by bit, trying to get the museum piece together. Been trying to open up more time for it. Over the last week, got to do a little digging, a little researching. You know, it's been fun. Like just talking to folks again and just getting a little bit more into the ration community with you guys again. It's you know, it's really, you know, it's waking something back up in my brain that I missed. You know, it's a great community and it's a great hobby trying to piece this really specific niche of history back together from manuals and journal entries and, you know, the backs of half torn, you know, bits of paper pulled out of, you know, somebody's basement or attic or whatever. But man, I'm glad everybody got out safely, Dub C. Is there something to salvage at least? Ooh, smoke? Well, smoke can get cleaned up. Hopefully, there's not too much beyond that. Glad you got out. Had some weird stuff going on in Philly. There was a mattress factory fire a couple blocks from where I live a couple weeks ago. I guess like 2 weeks ago now. That wasn't accidental or industrial. That was part of some interesting events going on in this area. But things have calmed down. For the last couple of weeks, it's been pretty normal. Oh, Just realized we got a light to turn on right here. Won't look like I'm sitting in the dark as much. There we go. Kinda. I don't know. I think that looks washed out. I'm gonna worry about everything this week, I'm sure. There we go. That might look a little better. 15% of the building. Oof. Well, I hope you can still get some work done on the other chunk and get back on your feet, and hope you guys had insurance and all that jazz. But again, yeah, best news is that there's nobody hurt. So, ouch. Storming like mad here in PA. Where in PA are you at, Ruby? I know we got listeners and watchers all over PA. We got folks up in Walnut Port, Palmerton, Allentown area. We got folks up in the, I want to say, still up in the Northeast. Some folks somewhere, like up in the mountaintop area. Occasionally, I know there's folks out in Pittsburgh. Lock Haven. Oh, Lock Haven. Gotcha. Not terribly far from Williamsport. Let me stop trying to guess things before I start, mislabeling entire states again. All right, so trying to get some packages boxed up. Just wanted to touch on something pretty neat. So you can go on the U.S. Postal Service's website, and we're going to try this again this time. This is what crashed everything last time, but here's hoping. So the Postal Service has, let's see, and I'm going to need you guys, okay, we're going to count down, and I need somebody to say specifically on the other side. I can see the browser, and I can hear you talking, and then I'll be less paranoid, and I'll be able to keep on going. So, oh, hey, History Savior. Welcome, and welcome, Renee. Let's see. All right, so here I am in the browser, and I'm still talking. As far as I know, everything seems okay. Right? Thumbs up. Oh, boy. Hey, K-Man. Okay, thank you, Aletha. So, I stumbled on this on their site. So, among all the other stuff, you can go in and you can order flat rate boxes. You can set up a business account for free, and all that kind of stuff. So, I went on and I picked up a 10-pack of all the standard sizes of the flat rates, and I also snagged like 100-pack of the labels, but they didn't show up. It doesn't look like, so no big deal. You can write on these, or I can get labels hopefully when I'm going through checking out. I need to see if I can actually print out my own postage for this. I have a little printer here, so I'm going to see if I can try that. I'm going to stay here after the stream tonight and work on this stuff. But what I wanted to show you guys was there's a military care kit that contains everything you'd need to send over, a care package from home. If you've got anybody serving overseas that you want to remind a little bit of, where they're from. I just thought that was a really neat thing that they do in terms of just making it readily available to pick up, the right boxes for APO, FPO, and labels and stickers and all that kind of stuff, just ready to go. But they have all kinds of little deals on here, and all the stuff totals up to $0, and it's just a pretty straightforward process. So I liked it. Just was pointing it out. I thought it was neat. They also do prepaid flat rate boxes, but you got to order those in, I think, the full packs of 10. So like, you want the $8.95 flat rate box, well, you got to order $90 of them. So I don't know. I was almost going to buy. I was thinking, oh, I'll buy like 2 of that and 4 of that. Well, no, you can't do that. So it was neat to find though. Sorry, can't stay. I'm on set working, filming a movie. Oh wow, cool. Any rations in that movie? That's the main thing we want to know. Hey, K-Man, good to see you joining. So, also got a couple things we might pull out. I might try and eat something again. I don't know. I don't want to make this stream completely about eating things, though it is fun. And I do have a couple neat examples. I was thinking maybe trying to cook up a Chilean MRE entree that I have just by itself. Never had anything from Chile. Might do that for dinner. What do you guys think? Also got some old probably edible snacks and probably not edible snacks. And wouldn't mind trying both of those. Let's see. Also, I don't think I'm quite ready. I was also going to talk a little bit about rancidity and what it actually is, but there's still a bit I need to learn about it. I don't want to give any bad information, but the big picture is that it's rusty fat. Think of it like that. When iron is exposed to oxygen over time, rust forms, which is a different compound that's a reaction of the air and the iron on the outside, and that makes iron oxide, and that's the red, rusty, crumbly compound that forms that we're used to. Well, rancidity on oils and fats is that same process. It's where the outer layer of that is interacting with air, interacting with oxygen, and oxidizing. So the compounds are very different. It's not iron oxide, obviously. And I don't know the names of all these compounds, so I'm not going to pretend. But they're oxides of fats. And when you have rusty fat, you get that that awful taste and reaction. So I want to learn more about chemically what happens and why it happens. But overall, of the damage to food, I would think rancidity is one of the least damaging in the sense that it tends to be the outer layer of something, and it doesn't mean there's been any bacterial harm to it. Specifically, it doesn't exclude it by any means. It doesn't by any means rule out that there's been something awful that's happened to it in terms of botulism or E. coli or any of the horrible things that could have made their way into the food could still be in there, regardless of exterior rancidity. So, sorry, I know that's a tangent, but finding something being rancid doesn't mean that it's only rancid. It's probably still safe. Just you got to know what you're being exposed to and the likelihood of something else having gotten in there. And always look for the warning signs. Rancidity doesn't necessarily cause the level of it doesn't cause numbness the way that certain other no, it does cause numbness. Never mind, ignore that. Headaches can stop your day. Oh shoot. I hope they're not in the middle of stopping yours, old Smokey, but yeah, they certainly can. I was looking at a spaghetti MRE earlier tonight, Joe. I was tempted. In the end, I have some other ones. I have a pizza MRE here. It's not a military MRE. It's an MRE Nation one. And I did want to eat that at some point, but I don't think I'm hungry enough tonight to do the whole thing properly. I've been putting it off for a long time. I don't know why. Just trepidation. But hey, at least now we'll get to see what was the first generation of MRE pizza like 2 or 3 years later. Like, did it hold up as well as it did? Because everybody else went out and ate the first generation pretty early on as soon as they could get it. Excuse me. Got it. Or so I think another way it can be introduced. So Smokey's saying botulism, botulinum toxin or whatever, has to be introduced to the can prior to it being sealed. I think that could be another way if it was punctured, from the outside in and it sealed itself, with whatever was inside. But I would assume that that'd be pretty rare. It's kind of like tetanus, in that it's bacteria that thrives in an environment without air. Um, don't quote me on that, but as far as botulism being a bacteria, I can't remember if it's. I think it is. Um, but it thrives without air. So like tetanus is the same kind of concept in that if there's a nail or some dirt that's got tetanus in it, and you get a puncture wound, whether through a bite or through a nail or through a piece of wood or whatever it happens to be, and dirt gets deep inside the wound, and then the wound closes shut around it, that festering point inside the wound that's got no air has exactly the conditions that it wants to multiply, and all of a sudden you've got tetanus, moving through you. So fun, right? So yeah, the same kind of things happening inside a sealed can when an anaerobic bacteria is going to town on the food inside. Just checking in on the chat again. Hopefully everything's working this week. I don't think we had any stuttering or slowdown or anything last week. Signal looks good. The audio seems all right. I'm going to keep an eye on it. But yeah, let me know if anything cuts out. Hopefully, it's the last time we were in the middle of talking, I screwed something up. It all dropped. And when I came back, it was like four of us for the next hour. I didn't go anywhere, I promise. So if that happens again, please just give it a minute and restart the stream. But no worries, otherwise. Once the can is open with a pinhole or a rust hole, there's no question. Yeah, absolutely. Um, if you find something 25 years old and there's a pinhole in it, don't chance it. Don't chance it at all. There's no reason. Your health is more important than that. It's almost certainly not going to be edible. Even if it was a pinhole, maybe a month before you got it, and it's something that's been around for 35 years, that could have introduced something dangerous into that mix. That's all it takes. And just because it's not mature enough in there that it's expanded and popped and all that kind of stuff doesn't mean it's not already dangerous. Just don't do it. You inspect everything you get that you think you're going to try and eat for any holes. And I'm mainly bringing this up for, a lot of us, I would think most of us have some long-term storage food in their home. There's ready.gov is part of the um, part of the part of FEMA's approach to reminding everybody in the country what you should have on hand in your house for any given emergency. And it's kind of shocking to me that most of the country thinks it's too much to be prepared to have 72 hours worth of emergency essentials for their entire family in their home. In terms of like dry goods and water and all that kind of stuff. If, for instance, their fridge went out and their freezer's, thawing and the water's not running in the house anymore, what do you do? So, I would think that this kind of crowd, a lot of folks are going to be more on the prepared side for that sort of thing. And so when I'm talking about rancid food and pinholes and trying old food, this is hopefully more for advice for 25 years from now when you're looking into your stored food collection and saying, I think it's probably about time I cycled out these canned potatoes and cycled in some fresh, 2051 canned green beans or whatever, and will they be all right? And for the most part, you're going to be able to know by the outside, having had your custody of the storage of that item for its entire life after the grocery store, you can make a pretty good you can make a pretty good guess. So if you've kept normal canned goods, normal canned vegetables in stainless steel cans in your basement for 30 years, and it's not 85% humidity down there and 100 degrees, they're probably still fine. But they're gonna going to have lost a little bit of their nutritional quality, and they're going to have lost a little bit of their taste. That's just the that's just the way it works. Generally, what you're looking at when you're looking at an expiration date, and Old Smoky was talking about this last night, it was a good reminder. When you're looking at an expiration date on a can, it's under pretty extreme conditions. The manufacturer is still going to guarantee that by that date, that product inside is at its near maximum freshness in terms of the quality of the food, and the nutritional content of the food. So, yeah, I'll bet we were all covered, even if not intentional. Yeah, that's a good point. This started out, there was a while there where I definitely had more food collection-wise than just regular storage food. But yeah, it's really not too hard to get a couple Rubbermaid totes and put some rice and beans away, throw some desiccant in there, duct tape it shut, and call that emergency backup for some day, because 100 pounds of rice and 100 pounds of beans will go a very, very long way if you actually need it. You'll be very happy that you have them. So I would recommend to anybody who's got the physical space to do that. Go out, buy a couple plastic bins, some duct tape, get some desiccant, put some beans and rice away, and just don't think about them. Keep them in a nice, dry, dark place, away from moisture. And like I said, just duct tape the bin itself. And if you can throw some of those big, hefty, um, silica gel do not eat packets in there, they'll suck up what's left of the oxygen in there, and it won't ever be perfect, even with duct tape, unless you want to splurge and do a whole flex seal or do a silicone gasket before you seal it, which if you're really trying to store regular stuff for a long time, that'll work. Air is the enemy of these foods, and in the absence of oxygen, most of this stuff will last, extreme amount of times, probably hundreds of years. In terms of dry storage foods like, grains. Now, that goes into a little bit of the things that go rancid. Just to keep on that topic of rancidity. When you're long-term storing food, think about white rice. Don't try and store brown rice. And while brown rice is higher in nutritional content, it will break down and go rancid far, far, far easier than other storage grains. And that's because of the oil levels in the brown rice versus the processed white rice that we're used to. Well, I mean, people are used to brown rice too, but nuts, generally fats and oils that are surface level, or on the exterior of something, and certain grains, certain whole grains that have some leachable fat content within them. Yeah, Smokey's agreeing. Absolutely cheap and easy way to be prepared. It doesn't mean you'll have the the talk of the town in terms of food quality when everything's hit the fan, so to speak, but you'll be fed, and so will the people in your local space. And that goes without saying that I hope all or most of you are the kind of folks that if the world fell apart, you're taking in your neighbors, you're taking in your family, you're taking in people you can take in. Everybody's going to have something useful, 10 years from now, 5 years from now. Everybody can pick something up. Doesn't matter, what their ability level at the time that things were to go wrong. You take people in and figure out how to survive together. It'll always work better that way than being alone. Even something as simple as having extra eyes, and getting extra time to sleep among your group, as a result. So, yeah, well, we were not going to divert into talking about the apocalypse too much, but this is a military ration collecting group, and a lot of us got into these kinds of things and got into how neat all this is by prepping or some tangential connection to prepping, whether we started with it and went ration collecting, or started ration collecting and went prepping, or still prepper curious, or whatever it happens to be. But I think I missed something. I see Prince Charles talking about plans for the world. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to talk about Agenda 21 or any of that kind of stuff, but this is a ration history channel. You can tweet me at RulerYak if you want to talk about that, but if you're tweeting at Ration Museum, or we're in here, I'll stay off of the InfoWars topics a little bit. Gonna wait a few months before you get cases. Yeah, that's a really good point Gunner's bringing up. Just for anybody out there that's looking to bolster their supplies, now is not the time. Now, if you need supplies, always weigh your options. If you have something, it's maybe better to spend a little extra on something now rather than have just literally nothing in terms of preparedness supplies. But if you're pretty well stocked, and you'd just be bolstering things, this isn't the time. It's everything's really expensive right now. Everybody's kind of gotten the chance to drive up their prices and move their expired stock, and know that everybody's diving on it. So there's not a lot of time for returns or complaining or any of that. So just be careful if you're going out and buying cases of MREs right now. There's good likelihood you're going to get burned, or you're going to get gouged, or you're going to get just mediocre, poorly stored stuff. And don't put it past people to doctor the little badges, or to take a picture of a good one and ship you a bad one and say, oh well, it must have happened in transit. So I don't know. For the most part, I've been lucky over the years, but yeah, when there's panic, or when there's people lining up for camping supplies or any of that kind of stuff, it's not the time to go buy rations. Viper says he's got plenty of rations, piles of them, but he doesn't consider himself a prepper, just a dude with a problem. It's not a problem. It's a resource. We had no power for 10 days due to an ice storm. I had ways to heat my house and cook, power my necessities. I also had a flock of children there, so be prepared for that. Yeah, you reminded me of growing up in the Northeast PA area, out near Hunlock Creek, that we're both so fond of. So out there, when the blizzards would hit, our little corner of nowhere would lose power sometimes for a week, and I want to say we went on almost 2 weeks one time, but we had lanterns. We heated our house with chopped wood that's brought in the fall and packed up in the barn until we had enough to make it through all or nearly all of the winter. And we carved our little path through the snow to the barn, and kept the back room full of wood, and just kept the logs flowing, and go down into the basement and pull out jars of whatever we'd canned and pickled and whatever over the summer. And we had some dry stuff, and it was fun. We probably hung around and read books, and thought it was an adventure. We got to stay home from school, but that's the difference between being prepared and ready to keep yourself going when the outside services are cut off, and not. Something like that, cut off on a hilltop with no electricity and no lines of communication, no anything for days and days and days. Do you form a path and hike out, get to your next neighbor's house? I mean, of course, you wouldn't starve there when there's houses a mile away, but it's being home and comfortable is the difference of a little extra preparedness now. So kind of feel like we can keep this message going for this stream about just general preparedness. Maybe talk a little bit about the Civil Defense Administration. That was its overall mission, was to build a more prepared populace, and to connect the regular everyday citizen with the continuity of society itself in the event of some kind of disaster or harm to the country. And we talked about citizenship in your local community, citizenship in your state, citizenship in your nation, citizenship in the whole world. Those used to be topics that were part of everyday structure for kids growing up, for people going through school, but we've kind of drifted from that. So I look to the Civil Defense Administration with a bit of nostalgia, from something before my time, understandably, but something that I've always had respect for. So I think we'll dig into that a little bit and keep this talk about preparedness going. Kaylin says, I live in an apartment and can't have a gas generator. Hoping to put together a small solar system. Solar's good for a lot of things. Good for keeping your devices going. Good for bringing some small amount of power to charging batteries, to small cooking devices potentially, but not nothing too big, because generating heat takes a ton of electricity. Good for lighting systems and that sort of stuff. You want to have some form of heat. I recommend, if you don't have access to a generator or anything like that, it's good to have like a heater buddy, and a couple. I take an empty MRE case, and you can put like 16 or so tall canisters of propane in one of those boxes, and they're like $1.89, $2.19 per canister, sometimes at Home Depot. So you just got to time it right. Again, not the slow roll apocalypse. That's not the best time to go buying gear like this. Everybody's got to bump their prices, but when it's not the slow roll apocalypse, go pick up an extra dozen or 2 dozen canisters of propane and box them away, and get yourself a heater buddy for $25, and that'll be something really good to have. Again, solar's nice. Solar's good to have in terms of keeping electronics that you might be able to use. Like your cell phone's going to be really useful in a communications breakdown, as long as you have a few things on it before things were to get shut off. So I recommend applications like Briar, BRIAR, for mesh network communications between cell phones when there's no cell phone grid and there's no cell phone service. Essentially, your phones just become beacons and take in and send out messages whenever they're close to another phone running it. So just by people crossing each other's paths, messages would make their way across vast distances. So if there was no way to reach out to each other, people running something like that on their phone as they move through towns or as they bump into other people would be like the postal service, even without the postal service. And your message could end up attached to 100 different phones, making its way to the first person that happens to be the one that bumps into your next of kin or whatever it happens to be that you're trying to search for. So that's that's another tangent. What were we talking about? The FPSGPs, the Food Packet Survival General Purpose. Yeah, I see them popping up here and there, but I can't imagine paying $100 for one of those. Let's see, what brought these up? Normally only keep a case of A, a case of B, a case of MCWs. Oh, hey, welcome, Zed. What'd you find? I'm going to have to look back. 2021 case B for $80. If that's including shipping, then you got yourself a steal right there. 2021 case. That does, ooh, or 2021 inspection date, so a 2018 data pack. Still $80. That's pretty great. How's it going? Let's see. So, who was it I was just talking to? Was you, Viper, right? You were looking for these. And I can tell just by feeling this is definitely the box without the can. So you still wanted one of these, if I believe you were looking for both. So this one's going to be yours. Putting that to the side, doing some boxing tonight. See, get something started. Let's see, can we do one of these? Oh, we could. That'll work. Free shipping. Yeah, I wish. I'm sure there's something for the nonprofit that I need to figure out. I don't have it figured out in terms of shipping things out. So for right now, it's just going to be me paying out of pocket, but that's all right. Just some for the collecting community stuff going out first, and then we'll try and get an actual trade list figured out and start trying to find things that the museum's missing that folks might be able to help out with. Let's see. It's been a little while since I boxed up something in one of these. Do we think that's pushing it too far? It's a little bent. I'm thinking it's going to be fine. I'm just going to pack some foam in around it. Viper, what do you think? Or should I go for the next size up? I mean, actually, if this is technically... No, this is medium. Oh, I didn't grab any of this other small flat rate. I just got the two mediums and the large and this type of small. Let's see, Viper's still here. Let's see, we got a big old box foam, bubble wrap, and all this kind of stuff. Let's get this flipped around. So, I think overall, yeah, we don't want to make that part any thicker. Just pretty much bolster around the sides like that. So, just going to tape this up a little bit. Got any D rations? No, sir. Actually, I might have one bar. I have a case from the movie Fury, the one with Brad Pitt and Shia LaBeouf and Joe Bernthal or John Bernthal, I think is his name. Guy with Shane on The Walking Dead. That was a pretty great movie. I know it wasn't super critically acclaimed. I don't know how many of you saw it, but essentially it was one day in the life of a tank crew in World War II, and that's it. There's really no extra bells and whistles around it. It was just a day in the life of a tank crew, and all the grisly reality that went with that. And I thought it was a pretty excellent movie. You know, it puts you in a position you didn't get to see, you know, in a lot of the other movies of, the era, like, you know, the Band of Brothers followed airborne troops as they moved from engagement to engagement. You know, they were infantry. And most movies followed infantry units or, you know, bombers and that kind of stuff. I'm sure that there's quite a few older movies that follow tank crews, but just from the perspective of one crew for an entire day, you know, every little detail, I thought it was neat. So I know it's a bit of a tangent, but we're gonna go take a quick look at that box. That's this one right here. So this one was in that movie, and inside there's all kinds of bits and pieces from the film. Actually, let's see. No, I won't pull that out right now. That's a bit of a tangent, and I think we might have done that fairly recently. I can't recall. Always with the tangents. Gotta break 30. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I got it posted in my normal spots and a few others. But one thing I think I gotta do is start cutting highlight clips from our adventures here. You know, where got something specific for folks to take a look at. Didn't see Viper weighing in. Hopefully he doesn't think this is too crazy, but it is a little bit, just a little bit bulged for a package. You know, we'll see. All right. First, you're hearing of Fury. Oh well, check it out if you have the time. It's not a terribly long movie. It's not a terribly uplifting film, but I think it's worth a watch. Joe says his military antique guy might have a D-ration. He may have sold it. Well, you know, if you hear that he does, let me know. We can see what they're going for and maybe put an offer. Always looking. I mean, and even if I have one, I'm sure we need more. I believe I have one reproduction. I have to double check. That's the thing. Gotta really get to the point where it's all written down. Hey Jeremiah, welcome. Wait, where? Angry Blacksmith? Oh wait, that's right. Renamed. Alright, so we got more boxing to do. Bear with me. Lost in the archives. Just looking for a med kit. 1 second. Where are we going to put that? Let's see. So we got not that one. It's not going to be in this pile. I'm just looking at it. I'm going to put it in one of these drawers. That's always a possibility. Let's see. All right. There. Yep. There we go. All right. start these. So what's the last ration everybody ate? I think the last full one I had was a beef taco. Always a fan. Invaded your reviews, as in comes in and helps herself to some of the rations. My niece and nephew apparently love rations. I gave my brother and his wife and kids a couple cases of rations after the Doswell get together. I had some stuff that I couldn't fly home with that I'd brought out or that I'd bought and taken parts of, so left them with a couple cases of rations to start off their storage food. Well, there's probably like 2 or 3 rations left at this point. The kids just piece by piece ripped them apart and ate most of them, which is fine. They'll get more rations. You know, I you gotta start them early. Let me switch this around. All right. Shared a chicken curry with your husband. I have an MRE Nation chicken curry, and I can't remember. MRE Nation, is that officially switched over to no, there's still a website. Okay, I'm confused. Anyway, yeah, so I've got an MRE Nation chicken curry and an MRE Nation pizza here, actually, that one of these days soon I'm going to eat. Hey, G Schultz, welcome. Yeah, 9 is a very blunt age. They just say what they need to say. You know, a lot of children are pretty brutal. You know, if you don't ask them to play softball, they'll just tear you to bits. You know, especially in this generation raised on the internet. Oh wow, you know, they'll just say whatever. Now I'm wondering if there is a box in between, you know, this and this. Seems like there should be. It would make a little more sense for some of these. Let me double check that site again. Not a bad store. Let's see, small. All right. Yeah, get used to it. I don't think I ever would. Kids are great, in moderation. So let's see. We got the regular small flat rate box. There's a lot of T-shirts and stuff available from the post office. And then the prepaid version of the box, the triangular version of the box, and the triangle tubes and that kind of stuff. That's it. That seems to be all there is. and then it jumps right up to these medium boxes. So I've got what appears to be way too little to fit into them. Oh, come on, we're here to get personal, isn't that the point? No, probably not, but let's get another one of these started. At some point, we'll get some museum swag, and then I can start tossing that in these, like some stickers or something, but nothing yet. I've got some logo ideas kicked around. One I like, but I'm not a designer. Once we officially start redesigning, I definitely want other input on a logo. Oh, I'm all right, Jalen. I was just saying you can go to the USPS site and any of these mailers and any of that stuff, they'll ship it right to you. Just buy the whole case for free. So at some point I need to pick up a few more things, but for the most part, I got a lot of decent stuff in here, in this free kit. Let's see. So this seems like overkill. These big old foam things. No, I should keep them for putting some larger thing away. I got plenty of this white foam I can use. So I don't know if Sunshine's here, but this one's for Sunshine. I found something else that's going in there too. I think maybe British. I'm not sure. No, it's got somebody's name on it, which is the only reason that makes me think it's not civilian. It's made in China. Okay, well, probably is then. Kind of plasticine interior. O'Meal's Pizza. What's that? Send an O'Meal's Pizza to PA for $20. Like a shipped a whole pizza to somebody? Put this in sideways here. And then we can fit another layer of foam on top, and that'll be good. Newspaper. Yeah, there was a point where I had a ton of that stuff as we were unpacking all these boxes. And I thought to myself, hey, you're going to start sending stuff out at some point. You should keep that. But I didn't. So, going to have to just keep an eye around the neighborhood. And, spot some of those local papers that get, dropped off for penny saver kind of stuff. You grab them right before they swap them out sometime. Or just get a couple, like a big old roll of packing paper. But there we go, one more. O'Meal's. Huh. 24 or $22 just for the shipping for one meal. I mean, I wouldn't pay $22 for one meal, like let alone just the shipping for it. It sounds steep. All right, this next one. Let's see. We'll switch. This next one is one of those, like the kind I reviewed about a month ago. We need some more for this box. Let's see. Keep an take it with a grain of salt whenever you spot a D ration on eBay. It's one of the most reproduced rations because it's chocolate bar. You know, people wanted to reproduce them, so there's a good chunk reproduced decades ago that are being sold as new. You know, I would be pretty cautious about any, just loose D bars at this point. Yeah, 22 is a large flat rate box. Yeah, remember when the smalls were like $5.95 or $4.95 or something? They're like $9 now. It's crazy. But the large is only 22. Actually, that's really good. I wonder what the mediums are. I think probably like 15 or something, but not too bad. So let's see. What else can we put in here? It's gonna be fun. Well, all right. So Gunner, you better eat all this stuff and pretend I didn't say that. No one should eat old food, but whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna need like an actual like big disclaimer that comes up on the screen, like the "Be Right Back" view, which I'm not gonna switch to because that broke audio at some point last week. So again, just not messing with things. But yeah, the bubble mailers do work out. I've definitely sent a bunch of stuff in those over the years. Yeah, the priority flat rate boxes are the way to go when you're sending something heavy, like this first box for Old Smoky. That's a good 20-pound box there. That'll be worth it. Okay, so Gunner, you're gonna get a lemon pound cake. Looks like 94. It's gonna be edible. It's gonna be really good. I'm gonna toss in a couple of these old style crackers. Let's see. What else can we pop in there? Oh, I have that whole thing of Reagan era cookies. You need to get a Reagan cookie. Where did I put those? Help me remember. Where did I put Reagan cookies? Where? Big old plastic bag of them, so it can't have gone too far. We've got all the pound cakes and crackers here. We've got cookie box full of bags and boxes, Belarus and Kazakhstan, cans, all kinds of cool stuff, Italian, small attachment, box, sundries box. Oh no, this is cool. This isn't for This isn't for eating anytime soon, but this is about the same age as that pound cake, but it's just bread, shelf stable. See, this is my curse. I move stuff around. Oh, well, hello. Some neat ones over here. We'll get to them another day, I think. Spice pound cake. Where would I have put an entire thing of Reagan cookies? Maybe in this drawer. Nope. They're around here. Here we go. I think I found them. Oh, I think I found them in the temp box. Yep. Oh, come on. So there's a couple things in here. We'll see. Let's see. So we got the entrees. Get them out of the way. Yeah, that shelf-stable bread doesn't turn up much. I'm not sure if that's the only one I have. Some old accessory packets. This is the kind of cookie I'm looking for. But there's other stuff in here. Maybe not. I was hopeful. I saw a couple. I saw these. Some of the old beverage bases. And we got just grape. Well, can't really see. There we go. We got just grape and lemon lime, but no cherry. I was hoping I could find you a cherry, but I'm gonna toss these in there anyway. They're late 80s, early 90s beverage bases, and one of these era appropriate Cocos. So there we go. There's a care package of sorts. Now get reviewing. Back over here. All right. That still looks. Sorry for the big chunks of silence while I'm looking through some of this stuff. Looking for some things that I don't recall eating that aren't in their box. Dark brown, dark brown. This will round it off. All right. Thanks for bearing with me. This will round it off. So we'll call it a complete set. We'll toss in the scalloped potatoes and ham. There we go. So let's pack this up. Wait, did you have this exact same menu as a brown bag MRE? Because I'll swap it out for something else if you did. Okay. Well, let me see. Let me see. I've got lots of other options. Oh man, omelet with ham. No way. Pork and rice and barbecue sauce? Yeah, there you go. Alright, here you go. Menu number 1, pork and rice and barbecue sauce. And then we'll put the pound cake on top and hopefully it won't get completely crushed. Pop one more layer of foam on there. And there we go. Bob's your uncle. Taped up. Now I just got to get to the post office. Well, like I said, I'm gonna see about printing my own postage. If that's a thing, without buying some fancy equipment and just using this label printer I got here, you better believe I'm gonna do that and schedule a pickup in these trying and difficult times, in these uncertain times, times that are less than certain. Hey, thanks for the sub, Jeff Senior. Welcome. But yes, I think I lost track. Oh yeah, in these trying and difficult and uncertain times, now more than ever, we need functional post office delivery. Okay, now I can't get these two mixed up. I need some kind of quick notation. Gunner. Sunshine. There we go. Now there's no mistaking. Smoky. Was it Viper GTS MRE? Something like that. I think. Well, Viper's enough to remember for right now. All right, we'll get that off there. And then what was I saying earlier? We'll talk about some Civil Defense Administration functions that we've kind of forgotten about in society. And yeah, somebody was mentioning the desk a minute ago. This is, see, I don't know how well you can see, but desk, comma, field, comma, headquarters. And the whole desk itself is, my actual work and, stream space for the museum. I like it that way. I got this years ago and always dreamt of the day where like I'd actually get to come and sit down here and do my work, and I've been getting that chance. Do I use a scale? This will be the first like official outgoing museum postage, pretty much, and it's all flat rate, so no need to weigh any of it. Though in the long run, I'm going to have to get set up for all kinds of things, I'm sure. Yeah, Smokey, don't go back and look. Don't anybody tell him either. I want the box to be a surprise. At this point, if you're not aware of what's in it, you're gonna love it. So it's packed up. I actually did seal it before this stream started, so don't look at last stream. Yeah, I think that's about what this one was, somewhere around 100 to 125 bucks shipped or something like that. I remember when it showed up and came off a truck, and it was just it. They didn't even bother putting a box on it. They just slapped a label on the side and shipped it. But it was fantastic. Oh man, I put an offer in on that 1980 MCI case. I hope somebody in the community got it, because my offer got rejected and it got sold for the original asking price, which honestly I should have probably just gone for it, but I'm trying not to dump a lot more. Like right now the museum is costing out of pocket every month for the rent for this place up until I'm able to do a fundraiser and get a year's rent in the bank and get that off my mind. So trying not to also buy a bunch of stuff. Now that being said, I can't help it when it's neat space stuff. Smokey sent me a link. I talked to the guy. It was for tomato seeds that have been flown in space as part of STS-86, and they're authenticated. So they come with the COA. They were flown. They spent whatever duration of time, whether it was 90 days or 180 days in outer space. And I can't recall if STS-86 was for the aboard the Mir space station, MIR, not MIRROR, but aboard Mir, or if it was aboard the International Space Station in its very earliest days. Because the International Space Station is just the very last couple years of the last century, going into the current century. And before that, we had Skylab, we had we interfaced with, or we collaborated with the Russians in Mir. Skylab, I can't recall if there was a separate let's see. Space Lab was different than Skylab. I want to say Space Lab. Yeah, Space Lab was a shuttle compartment. Space Lab wasn't a space station. Got it. So when the Space Lab compartment would fly, there'd be all kinds of, experiments and whatnot that could be done within that part of the spaceship. So it flew with a lot of different shuttle missions over the years, but not every one of them. But yeah, Space Lab, Skylab. So Skylab was the actual large space station we had up there for, I want to say only like 2 years before we had to deorbit it. Oh, have a good one, Gunner. And yeah, you already got me your address, so finally get this out in the next couple days. And thanks everybody for your patience. When I said I was sending some packages out, I said something to the effect of, I'll get them out within the next few weeks. And literally no one has bugged me about anything since. That's awesome. I don't think it can go. I don't think it can go with. I don't think it should go without saying that. This is a great community of really good folks, and it's easy to take something like that for granted. But there's been a lot of times over the years where, I put myself out there to do something like that just to like help somebody else out, but then I get a little bogged down and it takes me a little while to get to it. And then all of a sudden people are needling at me about it. And it's like, wait, I'm not getting anything out of this, so calm down. But in this case, like I'm saying, absolutely none of that from anybody. And I really appreciate that, and I hope all this stuff that I'm shipping out goes to good homes and get some use in the community. And I appreciate everybody coming to the streams, and let's keep the excitement up. And when the fundraising time starts, I'm going to rely on everybody to get the word out, to go talk in other streams, to post this everywhere you possibly can, all that kind of stuff. But still holding off. Is that a C ration box I see? Yeah, let's take a quick look, Joe. There's a lot of C boxes. Let's see. So, for C's, we've got these as empty boxes. All of these different varieties in different states. Oh, I'm doing it again where I'm on the wrong camera. Let me switch this around. I mean, I know you can see in the corner, but work. Okay, why no audio? I'm right here. All right. I'm here. I'm looking. I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, I see. Sound failure. Any better now? Okay. It's on. It says it's on when I'm walking around. I just don't know. I don't know what the heck it is. Why that doesn't work. But so that whole time, huh? That entire time I'm walking around showing everything. Okay, so I think what it is, we're just not going to be able to go to the one where it doesn't have the little corner source. It says we hear you now. Does everybody hear me now? Okay, try refreshing. I'll wait. You know, so this is what I do. Like partway through the stream, I screw something up and then I lose everybody. I know that's supposed to say Smokey, but hey, SimJ, refresh. Okay. Well, hey, welcome, Dave. You're joining us in the midst of some technical difficulties, but we're going to do another walkthrough of everything we got back there. So, okay. This time, with feeling, we'll see if everybody can hear me. So we can run through the crates again. We got 3 varieties of World War II C ration crates. We've got our 1 K ration crate. We've got 2 pemmican crates. We've got a modified K ration crate that, just a good example, we can look at some other time of when a soldier chopped up a K ration crate, painted it, used it as part of their desk. We've got a screen-used prop from the movie Fury, a full D ration crate. Inside, there's all kinds of other screen-used props, ration-wise, like some crumpled-up packs of cigarettes, some boxes, all that kind of stuff. I'm coming back. I'm making sure sound's still good. All right. Okay. And let's see. So the C rations, or I mean the MCIs, I was walking through. I was saying, now we're going to go sideways here. We've got Sopacco. We've got dry mix products. We've got 2 from them. The next one is Lester D. Lawson and Company. That's the weird one out of these. And we got another Sopacco, and we got another dry mix in terms of these C rations. Now, what I liked about these is the variety in their front labeling. So we've got this one is a big old vertical label. We've got 3 of this variety where it's just varying thicknesses of the font, varying thicknesses and shapes of the C. And that's this one, and this one. You know, like they're all a little different. You know, the C might be super thick, the letters might be super thick, but then this Lester D. Lawson one. This was the one I was trying to say when no one could hear me. There's nothing on 3 sides of it, you know, on the outer sleeve. There's just the one edge, and there's the date and lot code on one corner, and it's different. You know, assembled, expires, inspect, test. So the expires is, expires is punched in. It's at 374. It's packed in 371, but there's no inspect test. And it says type 2 shelf life, but that's it. That's all we got. You know, this one edge of the box. Let's see, this one edge of the box, and then the shelf life side. So those are some of the C's. We've got the massive long range patrol box, and And I was saying we've got the food packet in-flight individual box from SoPacco. We've got a small detachment 5-persons case. We've got the 2 10-in-1 boxes. Recent addition, very happy to have those in. Those housed these sorts. All right, let's see. Those housed these like first and second half rations. This one was chopped up and under a few things, so it's actually really good shape for the box itself, but really bad shape in that it's been mangled. It's just very unweathered. Let me just pop that right there for just a second. Get this back in order. That has all of our old school pictures and stuff on it. Okay. So, let's see. We've got older C ration crates for RCIs. 2 styles of that. You know, both had been banded. I think I have the bands in there, but we've got, I want to say, an RCI 8 and an RCI 4 in terms of those generations, something to that effect. I was saying down here, we've got all 80s MREs in the flat wider packs, like the old MCI packs. So we've got the in-flight feeding use ones, which are just regular MREs with a couple of menus taken out and the rest of them doubled up. And then just, these are all full cases down here. These are all empties up on the very top shelf, just as examples of the crates and cases. So whoever was asking, is that a C crate in the back? I think that was something or other Dave. Flat Top Dave something? Yeah, Flat Top Dave. So there you go. Yes, there are some C crates in the background. I hope that was informative. Okay. So, does anyone know where you can get a complete 1972 and 1973 MCI? Let's see. I have a couple cases of MCIs broken up among here. I can go through and see what I got. There were definitely 72. There were definitely 72s in what I have, and 71s. And yeah, the things that changed, well, I mean, between 71, 72s, and then pretty much everything after that, obviously, was the cigarettes stopped showing up. Storm and Totem they ran side by side as far as I know. The Storm and Storm 2 I think they were produced at the same time as the Totems. There is SoPacco mail, and they're pretty much just Totems. You know, let's double check. Let's double check the box and see if there's actually an NSN on there, because it may just be SoPacco selling them to civilians without, you know, needing to jump through any big extra hoops. And if there's no NSN versus Totem, you know, then we know we're not dealing with something that has a DoD purchase agreement with it. So, let's see. Proudly serving the U.S. Department of Defense for over 50 years. You know, most of these that you're going to see are pretty beat up because they seem to have all gone through the same original supplier. I don't know how many of these actually were in existence or how long these were produced, but they all seem to be, you know, dispersed through the same couple people, and they went nuts with the tape and packaging right on them. So, you know, I've got one that's torn up like this one, and then I've got another one that's all still taped up so you can see everything under it. But, you know, this at least has a good side. So, extended test date 8/19. So this was at 2000, probably. And this was probably a 2014 or 13 or 12, somewhere in that range, and then got extended a few years. I don't see any DoD or NSN or any of that in terms of a purchase number. But then, you know, and I also don't see the other telltale sign, you know, which many of us are all too familiar with. That there is a U.S. government, you know, MR, or, you know, U.S. government ration. That, you know, that's pretty unmistakable or unmistakable. In mistake, you can't mistake it. Fool me, you can't get fooled again. The totems, tailored operational training meals, from Warnick, they are U.S. government rations. Even though, okay, so this does actually right there. NSN 8970-01-321-9553. That's the NSN for this particular case of rations, and it's going to have a date packed allot and an inspection date directly on it, whereas these have some rough stamping, but I don't know if that's standard or standardized. So right here, 4/239/818. So this is a 2014 case of the storms. It was meant for 4 years. It got extended by 1 whole year, and that required putting an extra sticker on there. There is no NSN. It does not state that it is U.S. government property. It has a website on it, and it says proudly serving the U.S. military, essentially, on it. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the Storm was a civilian, or the Storm 2 was a civilian ration, and the you know, and is in that way distinct from the Totem, which was an actual U.S. military ration. So probably just like, hey, we're making totems. You know, there's a market for this beyond you know, beyond the U.S. military, so let's sell these too as reduced calorie or whatever. Doesn't really say anything to that effect. It says strategic training operational ration meals, which, you know, I just always love. That's one of the dumbest acronyms I've ever seen out of all of these. Strategic training operational ration meals. You know, Totem, tailored operational training meal. You know, that's somebody who's pulling their weight in the naming department. Storm feels like somebody rattled it off and said, okay, well, we'll think of something better later. And then they came back from their vacation and that product was shipped and stamped and everybody was good. Well, what do you mean, Bill? I thought you said it was done. Whatever. Strategic training operational ration meal. No, that was just the first thing that came to head. You can't put ration meal. Ration meals are done. What do you mean it's on 1,000 boxes and it's out the door? Oh, okay. You know, so totems, you know, I'm glad we have some for the collection. They're reduced shelf life, reduced calorie MREs. You know, there's nothing wrong with them. They're just if you're looking to have as dense pile of calories as you can in your storage foods, it's better to have the 1300 calorie meals than to have the 900 calorie meals. You don't get more to a case. It's not like they put 16 in there. I had to turn around and check. No, they're both 12. I just realized I brought drinks for myself so I wouldn't get parched throughout this whole thing, and completely forgot. We're almost to 7 o'clock already. Still didn't get the civil defense stuff, so I'm going to pull some of that out. Bike rides. Gunnar, you ever do any camping bike rides? Like multi-day, or you just take long rides that require some caloric intake partway through. I've got some friends out in Montana that still do, 200-300 mile bike rides where they plan out, up to 4 or 5 days to do these really ridiculous bike rides through mountains and old train trails and all that kind of stuff. But I was always stuck at about 20-something miles. Was about my max. Now here's another civilian. No NSN, no U.S. government property warnings on it. So that's always a good call. Whoever said that in the chat, or did anybody say that in the chat about the NSN, or was that? I don't know. That might have just popped into my head. Yeah, 25 to 30 miles on a bike ride in one day is a pretty good bike ride. I mean, it shouldn't take a billion years, but same friend I was talking about that does the big long trails out in Montana. He's gone from the West Coast, from the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean 3 times on a bike, and takes a little bivouac camping setup that he carries with him on his panniers attached to the bike the whole way through, and he mails, when he's doing one of these, he mails ahead, packages to the post offices in a couple towns that he's going to bike through, care of himself, and calls the post office and says, I'm sending this to myself, please hold it, I'll be there on such and such a date. And in every case, they've just said, okay. I assume maybe somebody might have a fee for that, but you don't have to get a post office box with any post office if you tell them in advance that you're going to have something delivered there, and you get somebody there to agree to accept it. Not a big deal. Granted, things get more complicated as time goes on, and in these trying and difficult times, now more than ever, it may be difficult to get something like that arranged. Mailed stuff to motels? Yeah, so have I. Motels and hotels, they're totally fine. That's how they operate. They know if they're getting a package and it has somebody's name on it, there's a good chance that person's staying there or about to stay there, so they don't reject them. I'm sure they get all kinds of stuff that the people never show up for or show up and forget about. That's got to be kind of neat, Like, I have a friend who manages a UPS store, and a lot of times stuff gets abandoned there, and like it gets shipped there care of somebody, and the somebody never shows up, and months go by, and they declare it abandoned property, and they open it up and see what it is, if they can't send it back. In some cases they can't send it back, but I haven't gone on a long hike. You're here as long as I am. Well, hey, okay, I'll keep going a little bit. Late this week, we'll get out some civil defense pamphlets and take a look at what we got there. I'm just gonna take a quick snack break. we got something fun this week. Everybody, we'll get some guesses. What do we got there? Oh, actually, let's see. We can make this interesting. The Appalachian Trail, I've done, chunks of it over the years, little pieces of it in Pennsylvania, and I've done a lot of the Loyalsock Trail, but neither of them, all the way. Well, I mean, Loyalsock Trail is not too long. I want to say it's like 60 or between like 60 and 100 miles, something like that. But the Appalachian Trail, not even close. I've probably done like 10 or 20 miles out of the over 1,000 miles of it. Yeah, New York always finds a way to charge fees on everything, Smokey. New York, California. And apologies to any New Yorkers or any Californians. Um, stay out of the politics of it, but some places just want to overregulate absolutely everything. Fees, 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 fees. So we got one is a chocolate-covered cookie, and one is not. And, Ricketts Glen is no joke. Yeah, absolutely not. We got the 94-foot falls up there. And there's all kinds of places where you can go right up to the moss-covered slime, slime-touched edge of, where the water's going off. And, good luck. Don't die. So, should I try a brownie? This one is as tightly sealed as you could possibly get. Do we think it's going to be rancid? Do we want to take that chance? And then we got a cookie. I'm going to take a chance on this brownie. We're going to see. It's been at least a year or two since well, actually, no, it's probably been 5 or more years since I've tried one of these brownies. Let's see. Okay. A little messed up at the corner, but doesn't look like any air got in. Smells like chocolate. Tastes um 56, Smokey. That's my guess. 56. Nothing so far in terms of bite. Holy crap. I don't want to jinx it yet. So far so good. The nuts are definitely rancid. But not completely. And remember I said 56. Can't forget that. I can't type in here for whatever reason. I'd have to join it, join it from the website. So we're not playing Price is Right rules, huh, Smokey? It's not whoever's closest without going over. All right. It's getting all underneath. Feels like it's drying out, under the sides of the tongue. It's it's definitely gone. But if this were, so I guess getting back to the lessons of rancidity, this is still caloric content. And where this is at right now, with no other danger, with no other warning signs, I would stop here and I would give this a little bit of time. But if I was looking for whatever calories I could get, in terms of staying alive, I'll guess 57, 58. I didn't see anybody guessing them yet. So if you're trying to stay alive, and you're 100 and 160-pound adult, you're looking to get 2,000 calories a day, roughly, to not lose any weight and to not gain any weight without heavy strenuous activity. If you're running 10 miles a day and camping back down and running and camping, you're going to need 3,500. You're going to need 4,000 calories a day. You're not going to get by on 2,000 without noticeably losing weight as you go. So in those kinds of circumstances, you find something like this, and it's got that little bite when you're eating it. You power through and you eat it, because in the end, this is going to be 300. See, it tightens the throat a little bit, but it's, I'll be the first to say this is still edible. And the next day when you've got those 300 excuse me, you got those 300 calories in you for one more day, and you've got the energy to get up in the morning and then go out and find more calories, you're going to be happy that you took a minor chance. Now, if there's anything at all that showed signs that the seal had been broken, remember we were looking at a brownie that was just as tight as this cookie. If there was any part of it that showed signs that air had gotten in, and that there'd been any bubbling or separation or anything like that, I would be a lot less confident, tucking in on this. There's a corner that looked a little iffy, but not bad. There isn't even any bloom in this, and that bloom is when the sugar has sweated itself through to the surface of the chocolate and it turns gray and chalky. This is crumbly. This is a little rough compared to a new brownie. This certainly isn't soft, right? But you can see big chunks of nuts in there. That's the part that's going to be rancid, almost certainly. Like just that part. Yeah, it has that little astringent bite to it. 87, geez. What was the what were people guessing, Smokey? Now that somebody's got it. Smitty, have a good one. Enjoy your dinner. Oh wait, what are we talking about? I I don't know what it was. This brownie was labeled 1992. Flat Top says every brownie he's had has been dry. Yeah, yeah, they definitely dry out. And so is this one. Picked a random number just for the heck of it. Well, thanks, Smokey. 4 and 87. So was I. It was almost 1988 before I turned 5. I turned 5 December. Last week of December, 1987. So I was 4 as well. Who was 4? Aletha? Yeah, okay, so I was born in the last week of 82. So we're in the same boat. Oatmeal cookie bars. You have an awful association with them? They're fantastic. One of my very first ration experiences was an oatmeal cookie brick, just gnawing on it, like when it was still pretty fresh, probably only 5 or 6 years old. Well, it is not common that you get a brownie that's fully edible, so I'm not wasting it. It's not great, but it's a chocolate brownie, you know. Now, it's not the best chocolate brownie, but it's certainly not the worst. I would not want to do this as a 2-minute challenge. If anybody out there wants to try and create some kind of new challenge around one of these, I would not suggest trying to get one of these down in 2 minutes. This is some effort, to make sure you chew it up properly and get your mouth rehydrated in between, because it zaps it. But honestly, as far as the feeling of tightening or astringency or whatever in the mouth, there's really almost none. There was early on in the first few bites, but and there is a little bit right now. But overall, this pretty much 30-year-old chocolate covered brownie is the best held up one that I've run across. And I have, I don't know, maybe a dozen more of these. So that'll be something to get out there at some point. Sorry, too late on that one, Gunner, but you got the Reagan cookies. Oh, wait, he already took off. Or wait, or whoever, I forget if he was taken off or not. Wait, vomit taste, what? First ration you had tasted like vomit. Oh, was it a spaghetti? The spaghetti and meatballs, if they start to go wrong, they kind of put that thought in my head. Omelet. So the omelet and ham, I don't know how well how good they were new. And then the veggie omelets through the 90s and into the early and mid 2000s up until I want to say it was 2008. Excuse me, stop me if I'm wrong, but I want to say it was 2008 was the last year for the veggie omelet in the regular MRE. I loved those things, but I could rarely sit down and eat an entire one, if you understand me. I don't know. It was like you had 5 or 6 full bites of it, and that was enough, but it was good. So it was a brown bag ham one. Yeah, I would think most of those are bad at this point, if not all of them. But who knows? You might get lucky and find something that's frozen. Steve, a few years back, had the occasion to get an entire case of 1993 MREs from some guy that had kept them in a freezer from like 1995 until present. And this was maybe 5 years ago or 4 years ago. And he distributed a couple of them around, and he ate most or all of the rest over the next couple months. But the MREs that came out of that case, they were brand new. As far as anybody was concerned, they were brand new. They were mid 90s MREs with absolutely nothing wrong with them. So I can't say when there's millions of cases made, I can't say that all of whatever is bad or gone. People have been saying all of these chocolate-covered, nut-filled brownies were awful, were unedible, for years. This is fine. It's not super tasty. I'm not going to seek one of these out and lovingly, reminisce on all the good times of eating these things. But I'm going to get to say, oh well, I ate one of those when it was about 30 and survived it. Jerry Sullivan. Jerry Sullivan was the source of that 1993 case because he trickled stuff out for a while, and a lot of little individual bits of it have ended up in here. But yeah, he's done trading as far as I understand it, right? But I guess that's kind of a sign if you're letting go of the stuff that you've kept frozen and paid for the electricity to keep frozen for decades. That's no longer a cheap case of MREs. I don't care what you paid for it. The electricity that went into just that one case of MREs being in your freezer for 20 years, 25 years. You just spent $500 on those MREs or what? Maybe not that much, but the brownies were never good, not even now. Well, cheers to that. Brown bag 80s stuff wasn't externally dated. So what we do there is hop on over to MRE info. And go to MREs, MRE menus, all MRE menus. And we're going to look back and we're going to get some ranges for you. So we're looking at a menu number 1 as pork with rice and barbecue sauce, thermostabilized. So we can say The 1987 MRE did not have that. 1988, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95. So, by 95, I want to say we were starting to see the tan ones. So it could be anywhere from 88 to 95. I would bet that is... I would bet that that's like a 88 or 89, but the components inside will tell you. Once you bust that open, there's going to be the the 4 numbered dates on all the inner boxes, and they'll all be within 60 to 90 days of each other, and the oldest of those is going to be the year of pack, almost certainly, unless they're all December, then it's probably early the following year. So once you open that up, you can positively date it. And that's the thing about most of my brown bag MREs. They're from big lots and from busted up cases and from wherever. So who the heck knows, other than menu matching. There's really not a great way until we have better records of who manufactured what when. And that's something the museum wants to help, contribute to in terms of adding a layer to the information we have already, in terms of saying, okay, well, from these boxes, we know that this manufacturer was still making this, these rations in as late as this and as early as this. So the more examples we find, we broaden out the picture. We contact the actual manufacturers that still exist, and we ask them if they've got records. Now, as Smokey will attest, a lot of these companies don't. They have no idea what they made in the 80s. They threw that stuff away. They have no idea. It's just gone. So we'll be, in a lot of cases, filling in gaps that would otherwise, if we don't fill them in now, it's going to get harder and harder and harder to tell that story, and it'll be lost to time. So I feel like we're doing something that's actually helpful and gonna be part of ration collecting and ration history for years. Yeah, they Joe Green, they still show up. I would say right now you probably got a good chance of finding a couple cases worth on eBay. See, the problem is a lot of times they're sold as if they're brand new, and people are jerks like that. So they'll just say, like, case of MREs, fresh, $120, and it'll be 1987. And while I'd want those, I think those are awesome, don't buy them to eat them, And yeah, the applesauce is almost certainly going to be black. These have been, everything that's come into my collection has been pretty cold, pretty stable for years and years at a time. Yeah, Smokey's confirming, like, he called out to probably, what were you saying? Was it Ameriqual in Evansville, or was it I think you were saying you talked to Ameriqual, and they were like, no, we don't have records. We go back like 7 years, and that's it in our records about anything that we've produced. So Natick has records of all sorts of things, and the actual orders, that's going to be where a lot of the source of truth is going to be, when we find someone who can give us access to the complete NSN list and the DoD ordering. Do I have any prototype FSRs? I have some of the 3-menu FSRs, if that's what you mean. I don't have any of the actual, like, differently packaged, folded up differently prototype ones, but I have the first release generation, and then the 9 series. The only prototype first gen, I have an exterior, or just the bag and some empty boxes of yellow HDRs. Can we see the first run? Let's see. Where the heck would that be? If it's easy enough to find, yes. Open and sealed FSR. Okay. Well, if you're lucky. I think it was easy to find. Okay. Let's get this up. Well, don't forget about this last piece. It's not bad. That's a entire brownie chocolate covered 1992 with a slightly delaminating exterior, but no pinholes and no visible damage, just minor rancidity. Alright, so this is the contents of a Gen 1 FSR. And yes, this was in an official released U.S. military ration. So we've got pouched chicken breast. We've got a shelf-stable Italian sandwich. We've got a pack of crackers, nut and fruit mix. We've got an apple cinnamon first strike bar, a cran raspberry first strike bar, a chocolate first strike bar, another apple cinnamon first strike bar, a Pop-Tart, single Pop-Tart. These things are one of my favorite things in the world. It's taken a lot to never eat that. Some kippered beef snacks. Actually, no, these are teriyaki and barbecue. Tortillas. Originals applesauce, Gen 1's applesauce. Likewise, an original Gen 1 Stay Alert. We've got the accessory packet for the original FSR, which is a weird one. I didn't open this up. It's got the bottled Tabasco, it's got peanut butter, it's got mayonnaise, it's got the caffeine gum. Oh, and that reminds me. I told you guys a couple weeks ago that I was going to try and find some weird caffeine mints that had come in a ration, and I found them. They weren't in this. They weren't in the FSR. These were in I want to say not a halal. No, I can't remember. This FSR, the FSR is 2008. Yeah, everything in it's stamped 8. So this is an 08. but it was the menu 1 of 3. Or wait, was this one a menu 1? No, this was a menu 2. We had the interesting tropical punch. This is type 2 formulation E. And 2 of those. Let me keep that to the side. And then we had our tan Ziploc garbage bag. But I was always fascinated with this. We have like 3 or 4 moist towelettes in here. We've got extra toilet paper. We've got gum. We've got the powdered tea mix, like powdered iced tea, or maybe it's even the cider. I'm not sure offhand. Got a pack of matches. Oh no, yeah, it's in this particular one, it's iced tea. So moist towelette, mayonnaise, matches, moist towelette, salt and sugar, tea, Tabasco, toilet paper, gum. I was wrong, just 1 toilet paper. And this is a 24-hour ration, so that's it. But there isn't an accessory packet quite like this one out there, so that's why these are I like these things, but that's me. These are xylitol mints, just to cover the extreme bitterness of the caffeine. Pure caffeine, like in these Staler gum, it's rough. And the Staler gum, a lot of people don't realize, you're supposed to chew that up and then kind of pack it into your gum line and keep it there. And it says to do that. And speaking of government contracts, even here, let's see if we can get that. You see that? NSN 8925-01-530-1219. So even the Stay Alert gum has an NSN. The Storms don't. But yeah, this early FSR is still, it's not very far off from the longer running ones. One thing you're going to notice is that they got a little more variety in their snacks instead of just a whole ton of the First Strike bars. But they had to go nuts on the First Strike bars in the first generation of the First Strike ration. And these shelf-stable sandwiches were new at the time too. So this is one of the earlier ones of those. So we got 8179, we got 8295, we got all over 8. So I'm thinking this is a latter part of 2008 packed FSR. And so this was the one that I had out in my home display for a couple years. And then anything like that, when I move in between places, I pouch the whole thing up and try and keep all the parts together so that it can get displayed again. So there we go. And a lot of that is short term. In the very long term, a lot of this stuff isn't going to be able to stay, a thermostabilized pouch with its contents. If we're going to want to preserve it and display it for years, we're going to have to cut it open, we're going to have to flush it out, and we're going to have to put something in it to keep it kind of puffed out for looking good for display, but it's going to be cut from the back and emptied, or else, all of these displays are going to be ticking time bombs. And at some point, I'd like for, there to be hundreds and hundreds of individual displayable items in their own, temperature and humidity specific storage zones and that kind of thing. We want some stuff to stay sealed for as long as it can so that we can record what it's like when we finally do get to that process. And of course, as enthusiasts and collectors ourselves, there will be times where we're going to open things to preserve them and keep their cans and packaging, good for the long term. But we're going to be secretly hoping that they're, potentially edible at the time, so that we get the best of both worlds. We get to save some packaging for future generations, and we get to try something and add to the general knowledge of how long some of this stuff can actually survive. Let's see. So, looking for library stuff. There we go. So, next week I think we'll start off with this. I'll leave this out. This is, we've walked through a lot of this stuff before. Maybe not all of it, but this is the Civil Defense Administration collection, in terms of books and pamphlets and, even just little individual things that go along with the administration from different areas. Not even sure. Director, Radiac, Sterling, Mass. Radiac is a company that produced some radiation detection equipment, of which we have a couple of good examples. But we'll get deeper and deeper into this over next week. But what I would like to just dive in on when we come back are going to be these. Let's see. Are going to be these booklets and pamphlets that go into the individual jobs of the Civil Defense Administration. Oh, of course, I show the same one twice. So, we've got all kinds of jobs in here. We're going to talk through what some of them are and how that approach differs from what we do today with the Federal Emergency Management Administration. I feel that over time, we can and should revitalize a bit of interest in something like the Civil Defense Administration as a civilian-managed and civilian-driven facet of personal and community defense in the United States. It's been pretty apparent in recent years that when we rely on FEMA to step in and manage a crisis, that a lot of people get neglected along the way. A lot of people end up going through some pretty tough times that they could have potentially avoided had they not relied so heavily on an outside force being the only possible way that they're going to make it through a disaster. So there's a lot in here. I'm going to leave this out so that we don't forget. We can dive on into this next week. But for now, I'm gonna wrap this stream up and do a little poking at some postage stuff. Otherwise, I can take this pile to the post office tomorrow and get her shipped out, assuming the post office is open. In these trying and uncertain and difficult times, now more than ever, you gotta check before you go to any of your normal institutions because they might not be open. Called in a prescription to my Rite Aid a couple weeks ago. Joked with the doctor that, oh, hey, we should probably make sure it's actually still standing. It's been a little rough in my neighborhood. And, call me if anything's wrong. Well, didn't get a call. A couple hours later, went over there, and yeah, well, it was standing. That's about it. It's still not open. I don't know that it will be open anytime soon. It was pretty rough. So, um, you know, in these trying and difficult times, we'll see if the local post office is capable of shipping out some packages. Like I was saying last week, most of the reason that I ordered all these empty boxes through the mail was that I could not for the life of me find a post office that had flat rate boxes of more than one type with more than one or two boxes at all. And I didn't want to show up and, take literally everything they had and leave and still not really be able to ship what I want to ship. So, anyway, it's been a really good stream. I enjoyed everybody's comments and questions tonight. I think we had a lot of fun, and hopefully we learned a little bit about the oxidation of fat, aka rancidity, oxidative rancidity. And we'll get a little more in depth into that, and hopefully not have examples of that in my next foray into something old and interesting. But yeah, here's hoping things can things can look up a bit, and here's hoping everybody has a great rest of their Sunday, and I will see you guys again next week for another adventure into the archives. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Oh, real quick, just saw a question from Joe Green. That green thing, that right there, that is a Navy floating abandoned ship ration container where a whole bunch of abandoned ship ration, life raft ration containers fit inside of it and water canisters down the middle. And we'll talk about that later in another stream. So, okay, real goodbye this time.